Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to Two Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're giving you guys a review of The Singularity Phase 2 Xenotaph by Scar Symmetry. So after listening to this album non-stop for an entire week, I will open the floor and say that I don't know what to say, because listening to this album throughout the week, I was enjoying it, but I was also finding it hard to really comment on it, and I was trying to think like, okay, is this growing or is it not? And I kind of felt similar to how I did in the first impressions. So it was a bit tough to really form notes early on in the week. But one thing I'll say, Scorched Quadrant grew on me for sure. I remember hearing it on the album, like on Friday last week. Like, oh, I don't really like this song as much. Like, what happened? It grew back on me. And that happens sometimes. You listen to an album for the first time, a song might feel weird, and then you keep listening to it and it gets better. I mean, that's what always tends to happen, right? But I got to a point where I'm like, well, what's really happening here? I mean, Overworld, I liked more, and I said this in our reaction to Overworld, it's better in context of the album. Standalone as a single, like when we reacted to the video, it's kind of not that great, but I feel like it works in context of the musical story that they tell. However, I feel like this is a very dense album, but a little bit to a fault. A lot is happening in all these songs. You got, crunching riff, lots of crazy synthesizers and all these wacky sound effects, a noodly guitar solo, and it's like these things are cool on a lot of songs, but at the same time, so many songs end up doing that it kind of feels repetitive in that regard. And it's Scar Symmetry doing what they do, but I just feel like the main issue I found with this album is pacing. Instead of really going on that roller coaster journey that you always love to see with an album, it kind of just like wiggles a little bit, because there are songs that have a little bit of breaks here and there. I believe Altergeist, it has that middle section which is a break, and a little bit in the outro as well, but I need almost an entire song that is that break song to allow the pace to change, so that I'm ready for the next song after that to hit really hard, fast, and whatnot. Yeah. And that was an issue I was finding, but I was still finding the album to be consistently pretty good, because if you pick any of the songs individually, for the most part, it's a good song, and I noticed that. I found Digiphrenia Dawn might be one of the best songs out of them for me, because the verses stand out with that rhythm that it's got. I thought that was really cool, and that's the kind of thing that I know this band is capable of at their best. Like stuff like that, riffs that feel as cool as that, and I wish this album had more like that, but there were a few other ones that I like. Avoid Retailed Meteors is still pretty good. I remember enjoying that last week, and I still enjoy it. And I think the title track is a pretty good closer. It's a longer song. It works, and it's got this weird like bit crush thing at the end, which if that was on any other song, I would hate it, but I give it a pass because it's the ending. I think that's fair.
What are you talking about?
So at the end of the title track, so it's the end of the album, that weird sound at the end, which is like they put this bit crusher on it, and it just kind of like corrupts and fades out.
Yeah, like you just lost in fucking Space Invaders or something.
yeah.
But then there's like, I don't know how many seconds of silence.
Yeah, it's a long fade out, and that's why the only reason I really give that a pass is because it's the ending. I think that's okay to have that at the very end. Like that's fine.
But it's not even a fade out. It's like it's just a bunch of silence at the end. I can't remember. I think it's like close to 10 or 20 seconds, and like a couple of times the album ended, and then I just kind of forgot I was listening to anything, and then the first song was starting again because I had it, but I was like, whoa, what the heck? Yeah, so it kind of caught me off a little bit, and I was left wondering, why didn't they just chop that ending tail off? Like, it just seemed kind of weird.
That song, by the way, Chronologist, I still like. That's another one of the better ones.
Yeah. It's interesting. I do agree with a lot of points you made. A lot of them, actually. I feel like I could probably parrot a lot of what you said. And I'm probably going to, but I'm going to be a little bit meaner about it, because that's just kind of how I am. So starting with Overworld, because you mentioned how, you know, it's not the greatest track, but in the context of the album, you said it's okay. I agree with that. It's not a great track. But in the context of the album, I also still think it's not a great track. I think this song sucks, and I just don't like being negative like that, but I really wanted to skip the song every time it came on. I don't know what it is about it. It's just such a bland song. It just really did nothing for me. The fortunate thing about it is it's the only song on the album that made me feel that way. So I think it's an odd choice that they actually made it a single, because even when we reacted to the music video, we're kind of like, why'd they pick this as a single? Like, raunchy. But yeah, this song really, like, did the opposite of grow on me, whatever the opposite of that is. I started to hate it. Shrunk on me. So, like you, I was listening to this album throughout the week and, like, being fine with it, but having trouble really thinking of things or finding things that I wanted to comment on and tell you guys, oh, this was awesome or that was awesome. Because I didn't really see much of that. Hyperborean Plains and Avoids with Tailed Meteors are the two best tracks on the album, in my opinion. The rest of them, and these aren't even great tracks by me, they didn't even go on my playlist, but just, it's like the few good pieces of trash out of like a garbage dumpster. Like if you're a homeless guy picking out of a dumpster, you're gonna pick out the best looking scraps you can.
It's kind of like the golden garbage bag in the pile of garbage bags.
But I wouldn't call it gold though.
I guess
it's like it's bronze at best. It's bronze at best. So this is my feelings throughout the week, right? And I don't like having these feelings. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? I always try to figure out if it's me, is it the album, is it my mood, what's going on? So what do? I revert back to Holographic Universe, because that's my reference point for this band. It's the only album I've ever listened to of this band, because we reviewed it and it got 2 toe tags. So I said, okay, is it a me thing or is it a whatever? So I listened to that album. Primo. Supreme music.
Yes.
Fantastic album.
It is.
Nothing on this album touches anything. The best song on this album is 5 steps down from the worst song off Holographic Universe, in my opinion. And that made me sad, because that told me that, at least in my opinion, this band is taking a huge nosedive. And when I listened to Holographic Universe, I found the reasons I liked that album a lot, it was because of the contour that TV was talking about. There's a lot of things going on, but they change it up a lot, and it gives you a sense of adventure. It gives you a sense that there's character there, and that there's a lot of ideas going on. Now, this album has ideas, but does it have character? I couldn't find it. Does it have any real identity? I couldn't really find it. Like, it doesn't have the stuff, like TV Fish says, we're looking for those songs that make other songs stand out. You need, like, contrast in songs. You need yin and yangs in the songs. So, this album didn't have it. Holographic Universe has a ton of it. So, needless to say, I felt like this was a pretty strenuous album to get through this week. It's good if you want to just throw on a background music or whatever, but anytime I tried to focus on any song whatsoever, I lost interest halfway through, and I couldn't even tell you what the ending of half these songs sound like, because I just lost focus and started thinking about something else, which is not a really good sign for an album, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat about kind of the direction this band has went. Not to say that I felt that this album was like really bad, because I honestly think that if you could take like a few of the songs from this album, take them out of this album, and then build around those with contour, you'd have a much stronger album.
You could.
So the potential within this one is definitely there. There are strong songs, it's just they're surrounded by similar sounding songs that drag them down.
Right.
Like, I mentioned it a little bit earlier on, the guitar solos are cool, but it's like the same solo every time, the same noodly arpeggiated solo every time, and it's like, do anything else. It's a cool solo, but you can just not include it on some songs, and that just makes them more special.
Right.
That's all you need to do. And, you know, I mean, Holographic Universe is this band at their absolute best.
Yeah.
I even listened to a little bit of Dark Matter Dimensions, which was their first album without Christian Alvestam, and even that sounded better. Like, I just liked, it just overall sounded better than this. But I guess we could get to ratings now. I guess I'll rate it first. I think this album has potential. As I mentioned, there are some songs that are legitimately good. They're just watered down into an album that feels really kind of mid. I can't say the album like was offensively bad, but it just really, it didn't really do too much, but it still has those potential tracks. So it's going to get a 5.5 from me.
I agree. It has potential, but having potential doesn't make it good in any way. It's kind of just like missing the boat in a way. But yeah, it's not offensively bad. It's like you could put it on and be fine with it. I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to give it a 4. I don't quite think it's that mid-range or higher, but it's also not horrible, right? Except for Overworld. That song just really rubbed me the wrong way for some reason. It just feels like a really badly written song. So yeah, 4 for me and 5.5 from TV Fish.
And that's all we got for you guys today. Remember to like this video if you like it. Tell us in the comments below, what do you think of this album? What do you think of other Scar Symmetry albums? We'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm TV Fish.
I'm Wild Self.
And keep the horns up.